What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and as so much of the focus surrounding what went down behind the scenes on the set of Rust is focused on the criminal investigation after Alec Baldwin tragically shot and killed Helena Hutchins and injured the director Joel Souza after a series of extreme safety violations and extreme negligence. One thing that everyone does need to keep in mind is that there is going to be a lot of civil litigation, that there is going to be people from crew members to family members that come out and look for a piece of Alec Baldwin, of the production team, look to get restitution for all of these things that happen. And that first one has finally been filed. The first crew member has officially filed a lawsuit against Alec Baldwin, against the rest of the producers, against the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, against the assistant director, and so many others. Basically, anybody that was potentially involved in this. And that could mean bad news for all these people. You can see the headline here. Rust crew member sues Alec Baldwin armorer for negligence after shooting. And the person that we're talking about is going to be Sergei Tsvetnoy, who we have talked about before. He was one of the original crew members that came out and really started speaking out hard and blaming everybody for what happened. So I guess it's not really a surprise that now he is the first to actually file a lawsuit talking about the emotional distress that he has been under after this situation. And we are going to read a lot from the New York Post, but I wanted to first go to this Deadline article because they have some specifics about who exactly is being charged in this. Alec Baldwin, Rust producers, armor, and first AD sued for general negligence by film's gaffer over fatal shooting. As New Mexico police continue their investigation into the October 21st fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins by Alec Baldwin on the set of Rust, the first of which is expected to be many lawsuits, has been filed. Seeking a wide range of unspecified damages, Rust gaffer Sergei Tsvetnoy, I think that's how you say it. I don't know if it's Sergei, I don't know if it's Serge, I don't know. I'm going to say Sergei Tsvetnoy, has filed a complaint of general negligence against the production, the financiers, star Alec Baldwin, armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, first assistant director David Halls, prop master Sarah Zachary, armorer mentor Seth Kenny, and more. And a couple of those names you might not be as familiar with. Sarah Zachary, in like the third round of investigation by the police, they interviewed this person who apparently was the fourth person to touch this weapon. So Sarah Zachary, the prop master supposedly on the set of Rust, got it out of the prop truck and handed it to Hannah Gutierrez-Reed before she handed it to the AD, who then handed it to Alec Baldwin, who eventually did not check it and pulled the trigger. And then you have Seth Kenny, who I just made a video about him. This is the, what do they say? The armorer mentor, which nobody has any idea what he was supposedly doing. A lot of people didn't even know he was part of this, but apparently, reportedly, he's one of the reasons that Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, the inexperienced armorer, even had a job there to begin with. So I'm sure a lot more digging is going to be done into him as well. And then here's a quote. This incident was caused by the negligent acts and omission of defendants, and each of them, as well as their agents, principals, and employers. Simply put, there was no reason for a live bullet to be placed in that .45 Colt revolver to be present anywhere on the Rust set, and the presence of a bullet in a revolver posed a lethal threat to everyone in its vicinity. It continues. And this actually has a ton of information and a ton of quotes, very legalese from the 25-page document. But New York Post, I think, does a really good job of summarizing it all up. So we're going to go and we're going to take a look at the New York Post article. A lighting tech from the set of Rust is suing Alec Baldwin and the film's armorer for negligence, claiming he suffered emotional distress after nearly being hit by the bullet that killed Helena. The film's gaffer, Sergei Tsvetnoy, claims he held Hutchins in his arms as blood poured from her wound and desperately tried to save her after Baldwin accidentally shot her with a loaded gun, according to a lawsuit. Tsvetnoy claims the 63-year-old actor should have checked the gun before pulling the trigger. And this part of the statement is something I think is very, very interesting because we have talked so much about the negligence and the people who missteps along the way. Ultimately, it was in Alec Baldwin's hands at the end. He had an opportunity to double check this. He had an opportunity to not pull the trigger. He didn't do that. He did the opposite of that. And something that he lays out in this may indicate that there was supposed to be a normal practice for them to follow, which didn't happen. Baldwin owed a duty to me and other crew members and actors on the set to handle the revolver provided to him with reasonable care and diligence for the safety of the Rust cast and crew. This duty called for defendant Baldwin to double-check the Colt revolver with Halls upon being handed it to ensure it did not contain live ammo. And it continues. This duty further called for Baldwin to handle the Colt 45 as if it were loaded and to refrain from pointing it at anyone. So that is interesting because we've heard from a lot of different people about the different ways that this is sometimes handled. That sometimes the armorer will come up and show everybody what exactly is in it before handing it to them. Sometimes it'll be the assistant director, but some way there are multiple people that are double checking on this scene when this gun comes on the scene. That obviously did not happen in this situation. It does call into question if you knew this was happening and you watched it play out and you saw they didn't take some of the steps. Do you, as a normal crew member, have any responsibility to say, hey, shouldn't somebody check that? Hey, shouldn't we make sure we do the right procedure? That might be something that does come up eventually, but that's just a thought I had. In the scene Baldwin was rehearsing, the actor was supposed to draw and point in the direction of the camera, but not pull the trigger. The gaffer, who is also suing the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, along with AD Dave Halls and others, also claims the people in charge failed to keep workers safe on set. They attempted to save money by hiring an insufficient number of crew members to safely handle the props and firearms, noting that Baldwin is also a producer on this. Double whammy for Alec Baldwin. It also alleges they violated industry norms, failed to allow proper time, and declined request for a weapons training day. Oof, that's not good. This is not looking good for them, not only on the civil side, but the criminal side, obviously. In the lawsuit, this is interesting. Svetnoy calls the target practice with cans that took place shortly before the tragedy, quote, outrageous. That is something that has been denied from so many people. It's been denied from Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, denied from Alec Baldwin's, oh, this never happened, that's just a rumor. Well, sounds like someone on set thought it was not a rumor, that it happened. Sergei Svetnoy, in his suit, has said that. That could be a big factor in determining what happens going forward with that little portion of information as well. Because we do need to get to the bottom of that. Were there people actually doing target practice with these weapons on the set? Because that could be, no pun intended, a smoking gun. So I guess we'll see what happens in terms of that. But he is claiming he endured mental trauma and is demanding an unspecified damages. This is just the first of many. And one of the things we said in this was, regardless of what happens criminally, which I think there will be something filed. I don't know if it'll be of any substance. I don't know if it'll be a slap on the wrist, whatever. But regardless of what happens, a lot of people that are involved in this are looking at like financially being crushed for potentially the rest of their lives, depending on their insurance situation, Rust insurance situation, all of this stuff. And it's up for everybody to determine how much emotional distress you think someone underwent and how much they deserve to get for this, for being present when it happened, for holding someone as this happened. But not a good look for Alec Baldwin, not a good look for the armor or the AD. All in all, this is turning into a shit show, which is what we all expected it to be. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.